Hey guys, I'm Will at Cedardale Communications, and today I'd like to discuss a subject that may apply to a lot of people, which is in the world of dating. A lot of times you may make a connection, but everything goes from hot to cold, and sometimes from hot to ghosted. And really, what steps can we take to make our dates a little bit more profitable and also an opportunity to be able to get more dates, so to speak? Now, what we're looking at today is an email that came in, and we've scrubbed the email a bit so that everybody gets the context, and we're able to provide some value to this question. So, the email reads: I met this girl online, and she went from being really interested to cold. When we first met, we exchanged messages back and forth until we switched to talking over the phone. We had a number of calls and FaceTime, and everything seemed to go downhill once I asked her out on a date. Because of the pandemic, I asked her out on a date where we would go out for a walk. She works close to this area where there is a river and a walking path. So I thought this would be a great first date. But she shut me down, saying she expects to be swept off her feet. Ever since, she isn't responding anymore to my, I guess, he meant to say to my messages, and I think she is ghosting me. I really like this girl. What can I do? Now, the first thing I'm going to say is for online dating, it's not as taboo as it used to be anymore. Myself, I do prefer the face-to-face, building that kind of chemistry and see how the people react off the bat. But with online dating, you have to treat it as it's just another way to meet people. And a lot of cities around the world, or even in the area you live in physically, there may be more families, less single people, or whatever the reason is. Maybe you're a little bit more introverted and you prefer to, approach it from a different angle. But it really is a place to just meet, and your main priority once you realize that you like this person is to make a date, but a date where you will see each other in person. I know with a pandemic it's a little more complicated, but you got to get a bit creative. And the reason why it's important to see each other in person is that that's the best place to have your exchanges. It's the best place to start developing a bit of a chemistry, a bit of an attraction with someone. And it's much harder to do it over the phone, over texting, and especially endless texting. Now, if you're texting and your conversations that are not face-to-face are going on so long, you're really basically talking someone out of getting to know you. The reason why I say this is because you're taking away all the substance. When you're meeting someone face-to-face, you won't have much to talk about anymore. You'll be, oh, as I said the other day over the phone, this and that and the other. If you feel really comfortable with a person when you're talking to them, it's a really good sign, but it's also important for yourself to measure that and ensure that your conversations are short, sweet, and simple. Now, when you're setting up the dates for who you met online, you want to be able to make a little bit of space to build up the suspense for yourself and for the other person, and give each other the space to think. You might think about, okay, I liked how this kind of was built on her profile. I'll ask her a bit more about that. Maybe she'll ask me a bit more, but make sure that you ask her all the questions you want, and ask her questions in a way that they're positive. Like, what's your favorite memory from growing up? What was one of the best things that you'd like to pass on one day to a friend or another generation? Always look for things that are positives and that will bring the best out of someone. It changes the energy of what that person might be coming up with. Maybe they had a hard day at work, and it'll make them disconnect from that. And always talk to someone as if you have a previous relationship with them. You're friends, you know them from somewhere, and kind of like, oh, so how was your day today? What's new with your life, kind of thing. It allows you to gauge the mood and to decide whether or not you actually really do want to see this person, whether you want to ask them out on a date or whether you want to see them again, but give them a fair shot. That's basically what I'd like you to come away with. As far as what might have gone wrong, now, because of the context of what you're saying, that she shut you down once you asked out for the date, and if anything, I would say it's actually kind of rude as well to say I expect to be swept off my feet. That's something that usually you would have in your mind if that really is like how you're approaching dating. There are different ways of being swept off your feet, but if you expect, like, I don't know you, but I have to take you out, like, to, on a high roller date, I don't want to, like, it's like, not a positive investment. So you may have maybe talked a bit too much, the two of you, before meeting. So she may have lost interest as a result, or she may see you more as, like, this guy would be a really cool friend, but that's it. And let's face it, if you're spending your time trying to do dating either online or wherever, you have your fair share of friends. You don't need an extra one. You may also have talked her out of dating you, and she might also not be in a place for dating. She might just be testing the waters. You have to keep in mind, some people do actually go out into the dating world when they're not ready. Maybe a friend of theirs might have told them, well, in order to be able to get over this breakup, you have to go out and start seeing people, which is not necessarily a negative thing, but you don't want to be that person who will be the rebound relationship, or just a situation where you've got nowhere to grow this relationship if you really like a person. Now, for a man, it's a lot easier. We tend to see things more superficially in the beginning. You look at someone physically and you go like, wow, I really want to see this person. I really want to know them. And then you get to see how they talk. You get to see how they behave, how they react. Whereas a lot of times women are already in the zone where they're looking at how you talk, how you behave. They're relationship builders. They're very keen at seeing where's the emotional connection and is there anywhere to go from here? Is this person someone I can build something with? And a lot of times, in order to be able to do that, give them the service of meeting in person, of meeting face to face. And I guess what the lessons learned, what you can do now, because you seem to be in a place where you want to be able to talk to this person again. And my main suggestion is don't. Just if you've ever been in a situation yourself that's similar, that you've kind of burned the bridges with someone, you don't really want to hear from them anymore, and it just doesn't feel comfortable. When you don't want to talk to someone, you just don't want to talk to someone. Maybe even what you'll say is something that you'll regret because you're just in a place where you really don't want to connect with this person, you don't want to see them. So that's going to be, if you keep pursuing the route of trying to talk to this person, they know you want to. And they don't want to if they're not picking up the phone, they're pretending you don't exist. I often don't like that kind of reaction in people. You can always say, well, listen, I don't think it's working out, whatever. And most of the time when you get shut down, I think the best thing you can say is, I'm not interested in being your friend. I'm looking to date. I'm looking for romantic options. And if you ever change your mind, feel free to get in touch with me. You got my number. We can chat and set up a date as soon as you can. And if you really do like this girl, I would suggest give her space. Give her space to think about you, to think about maybe she was wrong about shutting you down, and maybe she should approach dating you in a different way. Now, don't make the mistake of going back the same way, of being over eager. I think it's great that you like the person, but also give yourself time to like the person and to really discover who they are. You haven't really had a chance much to know who they are. So it's a chance as well to look at the red flags. When you go all head in, you go full steam ahead, you tend to have your blinders on. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. You want to give everyone a fair shot, but you also want to give yourself a fair shot to see who they are and to see if there really is that connection. Visually, you've proved that there is that connection, but make sure the behavior is there. And so far, just the ghosting part and the reaction of I want to be swept off my feet, it comes off a little cocky, a little bit, I don't know, like, you put your expectations on others, and you really can't do that in life. You have your own expectations, sure. And to some extent, they should be reasonable. You should have your standards as to what you want. But be open to be surprised. That's, you never know, because we all have our checklist. Are you like this? Are you like that? Do you have red hair? Do you have a pigeon as a pet? Do you have an awesome, like, Hawaiian golf shirt like me? That kind of thing. So, and honestly, that's a huge one. If you have a Hawaiian shirt, then I think you break the mold. Everybody wants your phone number. Everyone wants to get to know you, so take your time. Now, if she doesn't call back, it's her loss. I'm not saying it to you because I know you or whatever, but it truly is. Someone who doesn't really want to get to know you, it doesn't deserve your time. When someone really makes the effort, they call you, they put in, their amount of effort to be able to ensure that something does come up, something starts to build, you start to work together. Those are the best relationship builders, and those are the people you want in your life. You don't want people who you have to live to a certain standard. It really leads to toxic relationships. A lot of times, when someone starts putting expectations on you, you have to live up to something, otherwise everything's going to go to hell. You'll often hear things about you're walking on eggshells, or I expect more from you, and you're always going to have to be working. And a relationship is already work enough. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Both people who are engaged in the relationship need to put their fair share of work into it. And always take it slow. Think about what you could have done better in that situation, what could have gone wrong. Don't really blame yourself for it. I mean, it is what it is. You can't go back and change things, but you can change it for going forward. If you do meet someone else who sparks that interest in you, how can you take it slower? How can you build up that attraction, that chemistry? And more than anything, in order to do that, be creative. Look for ways where you're able to set up that first date. If they're a little bit reticent, maybe a few more exchanges here and there. But once someone has really put down barriers, you really don't want to have to deal with that situation. Just move on, keep looking. And unfortunately, for a lot of people who may struggle looking for relationships, you do have to keep in mind out there, you have to treat every situation like everybody likes you, but in reality, there's it is quite hard to find a connection with someone. It doesn't happen overnight, and a lot of times it can take a few more tries at it in order to build that chemistry and see, like, damn, like, I think this person's really awesome. Take your time, one step forward, two steps back. It's always like a dance. Now, I hope all this information helped you and helped others as well out there. Just make sure always that when you're approaching a situation where you're looking at dating, always look at it as a building opportunity. You're building a relationship, you're building your chances as well for meeting and really getting to know someone. But make sure you are aware of the red flags. There are some, but don't also be looking for red flags just because this person may be too perfect. Now, if there's anything else that we can do for you, if you'd like to ask another question like our friend did over here, feel free to reach us at info@Cedardale Communications, and as well, if you'd like to set up a consultation with us, feel free to do so as well through info@CedardaleCommunications.com or through our website. And always happy to share some information here, hoping that it empowers you and it gives you more value to your life as well and to your relationships. Looking forward to chatting with you guys again, and wishing you all a really awesome day. Take care, guys.